So today, welcome to next lecture of brain or nervous system in vertebrates. You already studied the nervous system of different vertebrates. So starting from the fishes, then amphibians, and now today we have to study the particular brain or nervous system of reptilians. Brain of reptilians. Brain of reptilians. So, as it is, there is no any change in the brain parts, but slightly here the mode of life of that animal, so that is become changed. You know, the reptilians are mainly terrestrial animals, so that mode of life is get changed. So the reptilians are treated as a terrestrial animals. So here is another one important aspect related to the. So here in a particular brain, the olfactory lobes are become, you can say, the elongated and rudimentary, and particularly, you know, so there will be the elongation of the olfactory lobes, and olfactory lobes are becomes a olfactory bulbs. Bulbs like olfactory lobes are get developed. So here the cerebrum or cerebral hemisphere is like this. Then there will be the optic lobes on both sides will be there. Then below that, so there will be, you can say, the cerebellum. Then you can say medulla oblongata, and here at the other side, at the ventral side, so there will be, so here is the cerebral hemisphere, or you can say the cerebrum. This one is the optic lobes. Here is the cerebellum, and here that is a medulla oblongata, and last one is spinal cord. So likewise here, this is the brain of reptilian. So it may be the snake brain, or it may be the lizard brain. So it looks like this. So here is the slight changes in the olfactory lobes, then cerebrum development. So here particularly complete mode of life of this animal is become changed. So telencephalon increases to become a largest region of the brain. So here the telencephalon is the largest region of the brain, and while cerebral hemispheres are also having the larger than that of the amphibians. This cerebrum is treated as a cerebral hemisphere. So two hemispheres combinedly treated as a cerebrum. So cerebrum is larger than that of, you can say, the amphibians. Then parapineal body is found on that side, and particularly in Spinodon lizard, the vestigial are absent in the reptiles. Particularly, auditory lobes are found posteriorly at the posterior region. So there will be the auditory lobes, and optic lobes are becomes a hollow, and finally cerebellum is somewhat pierced. Cerebellum is pierced. So these are the changes found in brain of reptilians, and that is different than that of fishes as well as the amphibians. So fishes and amphibians are having such type of difference in between. So each and every class of the mammal shows the somewhat slight difference, and you are going to study this slight difference between the two brain parts, or you can say two classes brain parts. So that is nothing but a comparison or comparative account of these different organ system in different classes. So that is called as a comparative anatomy, to study the differentiation. So that is about the particularly brain of reptiles. Then next, that is brain of birds, you can say. So next, that is brain of birds or brain of birds. So you know the avian brain. So that is you can say used as a magnetic compass, and you know the brain of birds. So olfactory lobes are small and larger than that of the reptiles. So the brain of birds is larger than that of the reptiles, but olfactory lobes are smaller, and due to the poor sense of smell. The two cerebral hemispheres are larger. So cerebral hemispheres are becoming larger than that of the fishes, amphibians and reptiles. So these three classes, more than that, the cerebral hemisphere or cerebrum is larger. So that is another difference. Then you can say the pallium is greatly enlarged. The third ventricle is narrow and having great development. Optic lobes of the midbrain are developed well, and they are concerned with the sense of sight. While the cerebellum is greatly enlarged, by that description we can conclude that all parts of the brain in birds are become well developed, except the olfactory lobes. Olfactory lobes are rudimentary, are smaller than that of the other classes, but the particular other brain parts are become larger, and you know they are having cerebellum is having many folds, or you can say the superficial folds or floculi, and due to many activities involving muscular coordination, equilibrium, and such as flight and perching mechanism. So perching mechanism is concerned with the equilibrium. You know the equilibrium, that is you can say concerned with perching mechanism. Perching mechanism, and you know the perching mechanism is concerned with to maintain the body balance when the birds are sitting on the branches of the tree. So when they want to take a sleep, the grip of the particular, you can say, here is the wooden logs of the tree, and the bird is sitting over here, and particularly the locking system of the leg, you can say. So locking system of the leg is automatically, because of the perching mechanism is involved in the leg of the birds. So because of that, automatically the particular branch will be locked inside the toes, and so that if the bird is taking rest or sleeping, that time the bird will not fall down. And that is another one important aspect related to the particular birds. Then come to the next part, that is the only difference. Except olfactory lobes are getting rudimentary than that of others, and similarly the other brain parts, the forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain, so that is well developed. And this one is the notable changes. The equilibrium is concerned with the cerebellum, that is controlling body balance, and that equilibrium are concerned with perching mechanism, and that is particularly found in birds. Then come to the next, that is brain of mammals. You know the brain of mammals. Brain of mammals. So that is the last part, last point from the chapter. The parts of the brain of mammals. You know, brain is proportionally larger than in other vertebrates. So it is the biggest part, or can say the biggest brain among the all vertebrates, or you can say cerebral hemisphere are having more than that of the reptiles. They are larger in Metatheria, and in higher mammals, the Eutheria, cerebral hemisphere become greatly enlarged. This comparatively in other vertebrates, the every brain part is become a larger, we can say. And in mammals such as rabbit, the cerebral hemisphere is relatively smooth with the few fissures, and in case of man and sheep, the surface of this cerebral hemisphere is smooth, or having the furrows, or you can say the sulci. Furrows are sulci. So this घडे असल्यासारखं त्या cerebellum वरती दिसून येतं. Then lastly, the two hemispheres are joined internally by transverse band of fibers, that is corpus callosum, and not found in other vertebrates. Then that is another one aspect. So corpus callosum, you know that this part, corpus callosum, is not found in other any vertebrate, and so that is one of the important characteristic feature. Then olfactory lobes are relatively small, but clearly defined as a covered by cerebral hemisphere. Diencephalon and midbrain are completely covered with cerebral hemisphere. The characteristics of mammals are four almost solid optic lobes called corpora quadrigemina on the roof of midbrain, and the iter, that is the midbrain, and laterally compressed vesicular passage called as cerebral adequates. So all these things are related to the human being brain, or you can say the brain of mammals. The cerebellum, you can say the cerebellum is larger and conspicuously showing the folds, and particularly midbrain and medulla oblongata is become well developed. So likewise, the brain is concerned, hindbrain is concerned, are containing the centers for regulation of digestion, respiration, and circulation. So all these centers, main centers are attributed to the hindbrain of the mammals. So likewise in all ways you can say the brain of mammals or brain of man is become a more advanced than that of the other four vertebrates, than that of the other four classes of the vertebrates. So likewise here the brain of mammal is showing such modifications in all structures. The cerebral hemisphere is larger, optic lobes are larger, cerebellum is also larger, medulla oblongata is also larger, and the important functions are attributed to this particular brain part. So likewise we have completed the nervous system or brain of different vertebrates and their comparative accounts. So okay.